You're such an asshole.
That one actually played correctly. I don't know what's going on. Not my fault. Hello, Cappy, the most prolific writer without a creative writing degree. There are a number of things I would like to discuss with authors of books I have read, and since Hemingway is long dead, I'll have to settle for you. I recently purchased and read Enjoy the Decline. I would like your thoughts regarding two subjects. First, in the book, you make the case for not investing for retirement as the government will likely take it away. However, nowadays, you frequently mention how much a certain amount would go if you invested for a number of years in the S&P 500. I recently watched a Rule Zero podcast in which you stated if a young person were to work 1 hour, having 13 take-home pay, put in the S&P 500 index fund, let grow for a few decades, it would a little bit more than a few decades, it would amount to about $400. What changed between 2013 and now that makes you believe it is worth it to invest? One indication you have the government is not stealing it. Well, none of the above, because what I'm trying to point out, they're two slightly different points I'm making, which do actually kind of contradict each other. What I'm trying to prove there is for a young man is assuming the government weren't to take it away. What is your opportunity cost for when we're having that conversation, wasting an hour at a nightclub, right? So you're going to waste more than an hour. So you got your hour of driving there and back. You got your hour of maybe standing in line, and well, maybe let's just call it an hour. That throws into the regular hour. 2 hours, you look at it 3 hours. And to a young man or a young woman at that point in time, well, what was my opportunity cost? All I was doing was take home $13 an hour. What I wanted to get into the mind of pretty much young people everywhere is your opportunity cost is not so much your forfeited labor had you worked, but had you invested early on and had decades for that to grow. And I use the S&P 500 as kind of a baseline opportunity cost because anyone can do it. You can set up a brokerage account. You could toss your money in the S&P 500, and that will grow generally along the lines of how the economy grows. Plus, it's available to you. You could argue there are other opportunity costs. Well, instead of going to the nightclub, what if I worked on pouring concrete for my home? What if instead of going out dating and chasing the opposite sex all the time and all that, I took my hours and time fixing my car, building a small house and all that? And it would still actually end up being, especially if you built a house, you're still talking an opportunity cost when you factor in capital gains of your house, all the rent you save, all the labor you save. Yeah, it's going to be at multiple hundreds of dollars an hour adjusted for inflation. And that was more the point I was making on Rule Zero. Now, when it comes to my concerns about the government confiscating it, yes, you're right. But I still invest in 401k IRA type plans, retirement plans, because at the end of the day, you're like, well, you got to invest in something too. And what you're doing, you're taking a gamble or risk that they're not going to confiscate it. I still think that there is a chance that the government would confiscate it. The Democrats are talking about it in the 90s and the aughts, right? They don't like you having your own money. They really don't. That's their parasitic criminal constituents' money that they deserve because they're whatever reasons. So it is a concern. It is definitely in the minds of leftists. And that's why I personally invest in the traditional IRA where I get my tax deduction up front. So they can't undo that. I'd be worried more about people who have Roth investments. And if the Democrats are going to confiscate retirement plans, there's going to be a lot of other things that come before that. One, they're just going to probably print off more money because that's the easiest way. Two, they would go after people who have regular brokerage accounts because keep in mind, it's going to be very politically unpopular to confiscate people's retirement accounts. I mean, they did with Social Security, but that's okay. That's come on, baby, light my fire. That's all right. It's all right. It was all for peace and love, man. Oh, peace and love, said the hippie pothead boomer. Well, that's fine then. But they're going to look and say, okay, we're not going to take IRAs or 401ks or 403Bs and 457s. But you rich bastard, you have not only did you contribute the full amount to your retirement plan, you had extra money you put it into a regular brokerage account. We're going to confiscate that first. Or they'll say, for those of you with more than $500,000 in your account, we're going to take that much. So for this generation now, and the average person, if you don't have shit tons of money in your retirement account, I wouldn't worry that much just yet. But we'll see as time goes on. It looks like the government's going to do what the government's always doing, that is print off more money and debt. And everything's just fine. I don't know why everything's so expensive. It's the goddamn Republicans. It's capitalism. So yes, I still have a concern about that happening. But then at the same time, so well, what are you going to do? You gotta invest in something. And keep in mind, I have diversified my investments into other things. When I get the time, I'll be looking at going to trade school, learning how to fix cars more than I already do know how now. But yeah, I'm not trying to say, well, I'm not contradicting myself. The government is putting us in a position where, well, the math still holds. Like, here's your opportunity cost in this scenario. But yeah, on top of it, there would also be the case that the government could confiscate it down the road. And so that's why, if you look at my priority of what to invest in, it's like 401k matches, 403b matches, because that's free money. Pay off your high student loan debts, build up a micro IFU fund, then pay off your high interest bearing debts. Then I guess IRAs. I'd have to go over the list. I gave it way more thought than I'm giving it now. But then I'd be looking, like buying land. Oh, you'd like to take this land? Well, see, 401k, you could just take it by telling the bank it's yours now. This land, yeah, there's going to be some corpses. It will not come free unless you're Minnesotan and you just give it up like, oh my God, because the Democrat might want to be a good Minnesotan. Here's all my wealth. Here's my family. Would you like to have sex with them? I'm a good Minnesota man. Yeah. Second, in the book, you advise people to take a minimalist approach to life to reduce their tax burden or even get money back via a number of government programs. Oh, you programmy, hey? Spelled it programmy. Well, person who's likely across from the pond. What's your feedback from other readers and from clients regarding that? Do you think it is possible that the majority of your audience that are not normies, conformities, and fears can do that? Everyone, you can. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this could depend on what your income is. And I would say you are always better off having a super invaluable skill, being a minimalist, so that you don't, for a very simple reason. I was talking to a friend of mine. Do you know what a pain in the ass it is to live off of the government? You got to apply for Section 8. You got to get on a wait line. Then you got to go apply for an EBT card. Then your health care, and then all the food. And then you got to go wait in line. I haven't sat along and chaperoned or shadowed a welfare bum to know what their day-to-day life is. But it seems like a lot of wasting my time applying for all these programs, applying for government aid, having to go in and wait in line to get food. It seems like a lot of waiting, and it sounds like communism. A lot of waiting in lines and paperwork. Although that's Germany. And if you could just be a minimalist and be a well-paid accountant making $50 an hour because you took my course, the world's greatest accounting career, I said, oh my God, I'm remotely employed and self-employed. Thank you, Aaron Clary, for offering the world's greatest accounting career on teachable.com. So I never had to answer a boomer cocksucking boss ever again. Thank you for young sir. That's a better life than being a welfare bum. However, if push comes to shove, and I wish I knew this when I was in college. Oh yeah, I'm totally not a college student. Where do I get the free shit? Because I would have been able to eat. I should have gone to food banks. It didn't dawn on me. That's why I needed. God damn, man, I would have done so much better if I had myself older stuff. Hey, yeah, you got to do this, kid. So, and especially if you're down and out, which isn't originally what these programs were intended for. Yeah, absolutely take it. Absolutely take it. This is why we have, we're not, this may shock everyone. Sit down. Not everyone who tunes into my show is 100% straight white male Republican Christian. We got some of them black folk in here too. Don't get me started about the Latinos either. But I give them the same advice where it's like, look, if an employer is going to pay you extra or give you preferential hiring treatment or promote you because you're a minority or female or whatever, absolutely fucking run and take it. But in that particular case, that means that company is at a certain level corrupt, not meritocratic. And down the road, you're going to run into, you want to make senior accountant, but you're just a black dude. How dare you have a penis? It goes to Shaniqua because black vagina. And then Shaniqua was like, oh my God, I could become director. Hold on. That's Juanita. Juanita is Hispanic and female. And then Shaniqua says, yeah, but I'm black and female. But Juanita is a lesbian. Obviously, she makes obviously. And so, especially when you're younger, starting out, yeah, take the money and run, man. You're going to need it. But I would not just, my day is too big. Even if I did. At one time I made half of what I used to. Fine. Okay. If I maybe get an EBT card, I probably would have applied for that because I would be able to eat. But man, I don't want to sit and get on a wait list for Section 8. I don't want to wait for the fucking bus and apply for some municipal program to get a free bus ride. Waiting in line and filing out the application is going to take more time than it takes me to work 3 hours of just working to pay for the annual pass. So the normies, conformies, and inferiors, I don't think my audience not being normies, conformies, and inferiors, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it has to do with your particular situation and is it worth your time to go and do it? But generally, I would say my audience, not being normies, conformies, and inferiors, they just won't be able to tolerate all the hoops you got to jump through to go live a perpetual life on the taxpayer. And invariably, my team, not the normies, my team is going to find some niche they like, or they're going to work hard, or they're going to set up their life that, oh yeah, I make enough money now. And like, yeah, why would I go apply for government? Well, you could get it. Yeah, but I get that much and it takes me this long to apply and I got to worry about all my finance. Fuck that shit. It ain't worth it. I do not mean not spending money on frivolous things. The most I spent on my mobile phone in my life was $100. Pissed about it. Dude, tell me about it. Used phones. I'm never getting a new phone. I'm always getting a used phone. Or only work enough to pay for what you need. I took 7 weeks off in the second half of 2024, but having the type of people that follow you living on Section 8 housing and collecting food stamps, I don't mean. Yeah, yes, I do not see the majority of my audience living in Section 8 and collecting food stamps. Some might for a time, especially when they're young or perhaps fresh off a divorce or unique and temporary harsh economic times. I could see that, but they're too industrious, or they're actually just too intellectually honest, and they're too good economists, too logical. Like, how long is the wait to get on Section 8? Well, forget it. I'll go crash at a buddy's house, or I'm moving to where the jobs are, so I'm not even going to bother applying for Section 8. Even yourself, though a Goodwill clothes enjoyer have, and I quote, a fantastic house of his in this nice piece of property tucked away in the backwoods of South Dakota. Please may know the price. Well, that's because I bought a house when I was 24 and it was rental property. And my next house after that was rental property. And I lived in basements at both rental properties for almost 25 years. And it was just because of housing price appreciation. And I didn't take out any more home equity loans. And I saved up the money and I paid off the debts that, yeah, I was able to afford it. And by the way, it's not that big of a house because I'm not stupid. I don't want this freaking maintenance nightmare. But yeah, that's the only reason I could afford it, is because I bought housing so early. I mean, down the road, if you bought a house when you were 24, by the time you're almost 50 and you did not take out a home equity loan and you made accelerated principal payments, you're probably going to have a pretty big piece of equity to work with that you could get yourself a nice little house tucked in the backwoods of South Dakota. So there you go. Yeah, I know it's they do seem contradictory, and I wish everything was like black and white, yes or no, redheads or blondes, but it's not. Sometimes like, it depends on your situation and where you are. And sometimes it's a philosophical point I'm making about what is the true opportunity cost for a guy where you get tossing the S&P 500 versus a political risk you have to assume and factor into your retirement planning. But I hope that kind of cleared it up and showed you it's like, yeah, I know sometimes my advice has to contradict itself with a big asterisk. And this is the reason why it contradicts itself, because the government is asshole. There's that it, I guess, because Democrats. It's the goddamn Democrats, Ryan. We got one super chat. Boo-boo, 69 Philippine pesos. Minimalism bad. Consume equals happiness. Go back to sleep. Yeah, come on, man. Don't you want the coolest, nice? See, I got this shirt. Athen got me this shirt for free. Right? These headphones, I think, were Walmart. Pretty good. I need to consume. Otherwise, I have no point in purpose. All right, that's it. I'm going to head off on. Check me out at the Elkins Accounting Hour. I'm going to head over there. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.